Hello, welcome freshmen to the first of the poetry videos that I'm going to be creating for you. So this video is to help you complete the activity that is posted in Google Classroom. So we're going to work on creating some metaphors, and at the end of this you may actually have a little start of a poem that you may enjoy. I hope so. And I'll be sharing with you one I created today. So to get started, there are some blank spots on the worksheet that I've posted to Google Classroom. So the first part is a definition of a metaphor, which you probably already are well aware of. A metaphor is a comparison that doesn't use like or as, but in addition, the comparison is unlikely and unusual. So pay attention to that as you're moving forward. You're going to be comparing something to another thing in a way that most people would not have thought of, and that's what makes it interesting and sort of lively for our language. Metaphors can be used in ordinary prose writing like an essay as well as in poetry. In the activity that you did before our vacation, our April vacation, you looked at a couple of different poems by different authors and commented on one of those. One of the poems was by a poet named John Donne. And in that poem, he compares man sort of to an island, but then he says man is not an island. And then the second part, we see that he compares man to a piece of the continent. So you have a couple spots to look at there. And in the poem by Emily Dickinson compares hope to a bird. So those are some examples from 2 weeks past. And a great quote from a book that I've been using as a resource. The book is called Writing Poetry by Shelley Tucker. And she writes, metaphors are bridges. So this is the bridges part. This is another one of your fill-in spots. Metaphors are bridges. They create images, and by connecting any two different ideas, persons, places, and things, show things in a new way. And that really is it. We're making new connections. We're making new bridges between ideas. In the next part, when we are looking at the first set of exercises, this is exercise 1, you're going to be filling in the blank spots with nouns that you wouldn't normally associate with the first word. So, for instance, in one of them, fire is. You might say fire is hot, but that's not creating a comparison that nobody expects. So you want to put nouns in there, person, place, or thing, that are not expected by the ordinary person. I have one for you. It's kind of in the middle of the page. I chose this part, kiss of, and mine is the kiss of autumn arrives on a chilly October morning. So you can stop and rewind if you don't know what I just said. So you can put it in. Then you're going to continue to fill in those with some interesting nouns and a little sentence after each one, or part of a sentence that helps explain what you mean by the metaphor and the connections that you're making. Then you're going to pick a piece of that, one of those, and write your own little poem that starts with one of those metaphors that you created. Then we're going to look at extended metaphors, and this is exactly what it sounds like. An extended metaphor is a comparison between two unlike things, just as you have before, but it continues for several sentences or lines. And so this sort of expands and enriches the comparison that you have created. Exercise 3, you're going to copy 5 of those earlier comparisons into this section. You don't need those extra sentences that we did that explains the who, what, when, where, why, how. And this time you're going to pick 5 or 6 characteristics that work with that second noun. So beneath each comparison, write 5 characteristics of the second noun. These could be nouns, adjectives, or adverbs. So remember, my example was autumn. My words that I chose were school, fall, leaves, frost, pumpkin, and harvest. When I started working on my poem, I wasn't quite sure I wanted all of those words to be in it, but I persevered and tried to fit them all in. If you find when you're trying to write your own poem that they don't all fit, that's fine. Try to include at least 3. We'll leave it at that. Maybe you end up with some new ideas that you want to continue. So my example with this idea of autumn and some of these words that I chose for that, I've titled it Seasonal Shifts. Autumn is winter's kiss, hinting of cold to come. She paints the blades of grass with silvers of requiem. Autumn bids leaves to fall, creating crimson walkways. Her frosty caress lulls lives to final forays. Autumn harvests summer's souls, sending them to school, while pumpkins prefigure winter's cruel and icy rule. I just wrote it today. I might do some changes, but that was my little rough draft. Spent a little time on it. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or add a comment onto the assignment. And don't forget, we also have some open office hours on Wednesday and Friday this week from noon to 1. So you can hop on and say hello or ask a question. And hope everyone's doing well, and I will talk to you later.